Two, one, start.
Dear participants, good morning to one and all. Hope you are safe from novel coronavirus. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Our Ali Muhammad Salih College of Engineering, started in the millennium year 2000, has turned its pages of 20 years towards promoting academic excellence, developing reliant professionals, providing career opportunities. Combating the inequalities in the accessibility of education, founder Al-Hajj Dr. S.M. Sheikh Nurdin's firm belief that educational has phenomenal powers to bring about substantial benefits to individuals. Great. Today we are presenting Trends and Scopes in Robotics, presented by Engineer G.V. Chandrakant. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, just write them to chat. We will have a question and answer session at the end to answer your questions. So please type them into the question box in your Zoom, go to webinar or WebEx control panel. We, Ali Muhammad Salih College of Engineering, welcome you all for the 6th series of webinar on Trends and Scope in Robotics. We have arranged this to avail the best opportunity for 12th standard students to get enlightened with robotics. It gives us immense pleasure with pride to introduce today's resource person and distinguished alumnus of our institution, Ali Muhammad Salih College of Engineering, Engineer G.V. Chandrakant. He has completed his Bachelor Engineering in 2009 and his Management Studies in 2011. He is the Technical Director of iCube Robotics. He is a certified robotic engineer with 10 years of experience. He has developed many real-time robots, and one such is the Butler robot deployed in ITC Hotel. His vision is to bring this wonderful science of robotics in South India by training young scientists at school level. He has launched in India first exclusive robotics training school with international standards in Chennai. I welcome our resource person, Engineer G.V. Chandrakant, to begin the session.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for this wonderful introduction. It's actually an immense pleasure to be here for the webinar on talking on trends and scope of robotics. And I thank the management and all the participants who are here and giving us an opportunity to actually expose on the trends and scope in robotics as well. So before getting into the presentation, so I just want to brief on a basics of what robotics is. So for many of them, it's might be a different word, and few of them might already been introduced to robotics. See, basically, robotics is it's a combined word of robot and ICS. So robotics is basically the science that deals with the study of robots. So let's start with the presentation. So I'll run into the presentation. We start with robotics. So here we see different streams being integrated together. We have industries, manufacturing, application, vision-based. We have the automation. We have IoT, which is being integrated. We have trends, scopes. So all that is being an integrated subject is what is robotics is. So before getting you introduced to the trends and scope of robotics, so now we will have a different students of 12th grade. So few of you would have already been exposed to what robotics is. Some might be very new to robotics. So I'll start with very basic scratch to make you understand what is a real robot is. Then we'll get into understanding of what the trends that is happening in robotics. Then we'll talk about the scope in robotics. Then we'll look into different engineering streams that is required to get placed in robots. That's how our program flow is going to be. To start with, so what is a robot? Many of you will have a different mindset, different pictures in mind when you talk about robot. But actually speaking, these two questions, if you just think about it, we get you a clarity of what is a robot is. Can you just think, all robots are missions, but all missions are not robots. So everyone, when we ask what is a robot, the question immediately they would say, yes, it's a mission. It might be an electrical mission or electronics mission. Finally, they will end up with the word called mission. But actually, digging deep into the real understanding of what robotics is, there are certain difference between a robot and a mission. As I said earlier, all robots are missions, but all missions are not robots. So what is the quality, the special quality that makes a robot different from a normal mission? So like how I was giving you a different brief introduction on robot, so many institutes have come across defining this is what is a robot is, this is what is a robotics. But finally, most of the institute finally end up with understanding of, yes, the Institute of America has come up with a definition of a robot that would actually explain in detail about what a robot is. And that's what is here. So actually the definition of a robot is, we see, according to the Robot Institute of America, 1979, they have told that a robot is a reprogrammable multifunctional manipulator designed to move materials, parts, tools, or specialized device through various program motion for the performance of variety of tasks. The only concept that makes a robot different from a machine is a reprogramming concept. A machine are being designed to do a particular work. Say, for example, if you take a washing machine, it's being meant for washing. If you take a sewing machine, it's meant for sewing. So machines are being designed to do a particular task, a particular job, a particular work. At times, even the washing machine also is being programmed, but the program is only once. Once it is programmed and the IC is being integrated, once the chip is being inbuilt, and then the programming is done, that machine will keep on doing the same work n number of years. Whereas when you consider this robot, it has a very special quality called reprogramming. So this reprogramming concept, this is what is that makes a difference from a normal machine and a robot. So what is the special quality in terms of reprogramming is? I'll give you this example. It will help you to understand in a better way. In Hyundai company, manufacturing of cars, they use robotic arm. So as we've been to Hyundai company Sri Perambuttur, which is there in Chennai, near Chennai, probably 4 years before, they have been deployed KUKA robot, which is a robotic arm. So right from pick and place, welding, painting, everywhere, the robots are being deployed to do the job. So when we saw there, see, there will be an end effector. All the robotic arm which is being deployed there is a KUKA robot. That's a robotic arm. It's all common. The base is common. The arm is common. The degrees of freedom. But when we concentrate on the end effector is something that is the end where the effect is being done. So that end effector will be replaced on different streams. For pick and place, they will have a gripper as an end effector. For painting, they will have a painting, the spray gun as an end effector. For the welding machine. So though the robotic arm which is being deployed in Hyundai company, the KUKA robot, it's all the same, but the end effector is different. So the same robot can be reprogrammed by changing the end effector, doing different tasks. So that's what makes a robot different from a machine. So this robot can be used to make a pick and place. The same robot can be again reprogrammed and changing the end effector. It can be used to do a painting. The same robot changing the end effector can be used as a welding machine. So all the concepts come to the point, concentrating on a point called reprogramming. So that's what the Institute of America has told. A robot, in simple word, is a reprogramming machine. So that's what is the robot, that makes a difference from a normal machine. A reprogrammable machine can be called as a robot, in short. So let's move on to the next one. It says, we have, when we see it together, this we have the various program motion for the performance of variety of tasks. So here it's very clear that there is a various program motion for the performance of variety of tasks. If it is being designed, programmed for a single task, it is a mission. So there comes the clear understanding of what robot and a normal mission is. Mission is being designed to do a particular work, one-time program, whereas the robots can be reprogrammed many times and can be changed with different works and deployed in different fields. So coming to the next stream called, this is Isaac Asimov. So you would have got to know his name in many of the movies that has come across. Here, he is the one who coined the term called robotics. The first term robotics was used by Isaac Asimov. So he wrote many stories, science fiction stories, and even that came as an iRobot movie in recent days. That iRobot movie is completely focusing on the three laws which was proposed by Isaac Asimov. Any companies or any organization that is producing a robot will be very careful in making sure that it follows all the three laws that Isaac Asimov has proposed. He proposed that whatever the robot you're making before coming into the market, you have to check out it follows the three conditions. What are the three conditions? First thing is, whatever robot you're being done, that robot should not injure human beings. That's the first criteria of law that was proposed by Isaac Asimov. Secondly, he proposed that whatever robot you do, that should obey the orders given by human beings, where such order should not conflict with the higher order law, which means the second order states that the robot should obey the orders, but it should not obey the orders in such a way, injuring the humanity or human being. The third law says like this: the robot should protect itself. And again, there is a condition called where such order should not conflict with the higher order law. So here it gives a very clear understanding that the robots is being made in such a way, it should help out the human beings and enhance the human life skills. And it's not being produced to injure human beings. It is being manufactured to enhance the human being life skills and enhance the living skill as well. So that's what is the Isaac Asimov proposed law states. So before getting into the next slide, I'll give you a brief video for you to understand how the robots were evolved. So this is actually a brief video on evolution of robot. Actually speaking, they say robots have started into existence right from 15th century. It was, many researchers says. And this is a glimpse of evolution of robot for you to understand in a very brief manner. So this will help you to see about how the growth of robots came into an existence. So here we saw, now you'd have understood the basic, understanding of how the robots have evolved. See, initially, if you see, there are a lot of videos actually available to actually get to understand how from 15th century to our current century, how the robots have evolved. But in a given time, this is a small glimpse of a video that will actually made you understand that initially the robot doesn't have a proper structure. It doesn't have proper structure in terms of movement and stuff like that. And probably in later days, if you see the last video, even the emotions can be programmed. So that's how the robot evolution came into existence. So nowadays it's all, even the humanoid robots have also been evolved into an extreme called andro humanoid robot, which exactly resembles like a human being. So in that video you would have seen, so initially Sony took place, bringing into the Aibo robot dog, and then the different generations of robots, bio-inspired robots, and then they only started, introducing into the market the first humanoid robot, that is Asimov. Just remembering this Isaac Asimov, who has turned the word called robotics. So next, getting into the other stream, yes, we have more participants who join now. Just to brief you, we just explained about what a robot is, a difference between a robot and a machine. Then we discussed about the laws of robotics, how the entire program flow will be is. Now we'll talk about the basics of robotics, and then we'll focus on what is the current trends in robotics. Then when we see the trends in robotics, we'll understand where the scopes of robotics is, and then we'll discuss about what is the major streams of engineering that is required to get into these kinds of robot based job. And then we'll end up with the question and answer session. So that's how the program flow will be. So now getting in the next slide. Basically, robotics is a multidisciplinary engineering subject, and I am very glad that this presentation is given for the 12th standard students. This 12th standard is a very important stage where you choose what kind of engineering, and this choosing your career in engineering, choosing the career in engineering, and as well as the college will actually make you what you are in future. So that's what is a basic the basement that is required right now. So during this 12th grade, I am happy that this institution has arranged this for you, and we're getting into understanding of what are the different streams of engineering required actually to get into a robotic based company as well. So starting with robotics, to understand it, you cannot constrain the robot as robotic is only the subject or into an any box. So here, to understand robotics is a multidisciplinary engineering. So whatever the engineering streams is, you have an opportunity in robotics. That's a good news you have today. See, to understand it in a better way, see, we have four main streams of engineering, which is uh, placed over in the slide. See here, the mechanical engineering. Start with the mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineer is someone who actually designed the external structure of a robot. So where the center of gravity should be, where the center of buoyancy should be, how the weight of the robot should be, where it's going to fall, so how the payload has to be calculated. All the designing external work in terms of getting into the real design of robot, the mechanical engineer takes place. Next, we have the electrical engineer. Electrical engineer, you might be wondering why the electrical engineers also have a very major role in robotics. Electrical engineering, basically, if you see the robots right from the head to toe, well, let's take an example of a humanoid robot. The robots that has motors right from head to toe is not the same. If you focus on the different motors in different places, the motors will be different. So in the neck, we'll have a different motors where you need to only have 0 to 180 degree. It doesn't happen as it's shown in the movie, like rotation. So because there is a constraint of cables and other stuff as actually. So here the motors which is placed in the neck is actually 0 to 180 degrees. So here the servo motor is being deployed. Whereas when you take the leg, there is a continuous rotation is required. So there we use DC motor, the servo motor, stepper motor, the different streams of motors which is being placed right from head to toe. So this electrical engineer is what? Who decides which motor should be placed where. Next, we have the electronics engineering. Of course, all the motors and sensors placed in the external body of a robot has to be integrated to a board called the PCB board, in common to make you understand in a better way, like a motherboard. So where All the sensors and motors get connected together. So we have that PCB board, which is a printed circuit board. So all the electronic, designing right from the PCB layout and integrating all the ICs, sensors, and motors, electronics engineer take care. Of course, now the body structure is ready, the motors are ready, the motors and the sensors, actuators, everything is being attached, integrated with the PCB, electronic board, the motherboard. So now, without programming, the robot will not work. So of course, there we have a computer science engineer. Right now, if you see, there is a very big boom in terms of robotic engineering, where programmers are very much required. So even if you take machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, everywhere right now, programmers have a major role. So they have a very high scope in terms of getting into this robotic streams also. And of course, you have much more. You have an IT stream also being placed in robotics field. So now to understand, here we have the major classification of robots. Any robots around the world will be fitting into any of these streams. So all the robots can be broadly, majorly classified into four types, starting from stationary robots, mobile robots, humanoid robots. Then we have the bio-inspired robot. So let me brief you in detail about the different streams of this classification of robot. So here we have the stationary robot. Stationary robot, something the robot is being fixed. For example, even in Hyundai company, the robotic arm at the base is fixed. Only the end effector on the top, the robotic arm will be in movement. So those robots which is fixed comes under the category of stationary robots. And then second, we have mobile robots that can move around. That's the mobile robot. And third stream, we have humanoid robot. This humanoid robots is what is the current craze. Even Sophia robot, most of you would have come across it. So it is being deployed in different parts of the world, and Sophia is being, agreed as a citizen, and even the citizenship is given in Dubai. So here we have the fourth category, which is bio-inspired robots. This bio-inspired robot majorly is not much focused in terms of a general crowd, but actually speaking, bio-inspired robots is deployed in different place. And for spy robot and military base, bio-inspired robot plays a major role. So further getting into understanding of what stationary robots, so that's what I was telling you about. So we have the serial manipulator, parallel manipulator. Stationary robot, something a robot which is being fixed and working. In serial robot, we have the arm which is serially placed, and that's what is the meaning serial manipulator. Then we have this parallel robot as well. So actually, we have a lot of it. So I'll just rush through in briefing these things, and let's focus on the trends in robotics much more. So then we have the mobile robots. Here it can move around. So we have Explorer. Different kinds of rescue robots also comes under this mobile robot. And then we have this humanoid robot. Basically, humanoid robots, if it resembles like a male, we call it as an android. If it resembles like a female, we call it as a dinoid. So even in this video of evolution of robot, finally, you would have seen a robot that was, talking in front of a camera. So here we have this robot. It's called a Saya robot. This Saya robot was deployed as a teacher in one of the school in Japan. So later point, the Japan government has proposed in such a way that in teaching profession, robots should not be used. And we know the concept of robot. A mission is one-time program, but the robot has an option called reprogramming. So with that option, they have reprogrammed the Saya robot, and now she is working as a receptionist in one of the hotel in Japan. So that's what this reprogramming concept makes the robot different from a normal machine. Then we have bio-inspired robots. So in the even in the slide, the last picture is the world's smallest robot. So this bio-inspired robot you would have come across in movies as well. So in different movies, even like this bio-inspired robots is being used. Even that came into existence actually after an incident that happened in Taj Coromandel a few years before. So nobody were able to enter into the hotel and check out and deploy, what's happening inside. So there, this robot can play a major role. This robot can get into or enter into a keyhole. So that's how is that specialty is. It's a spy robot. Even a keyhole is enough for this robot to get into. and we could observe what is happening inside and properly take necessary measures across. So now let's get into the mainstream of our today's topic, current trends in robotics. So there are actually various trends robotics being placed now. You would have come across even in Chennai. There are hotels that's where butler robots are being used. We deployed a butler robot in ITC hotel in Bangalore 6 years before. So now a lot of evolution came even in terms of butler robots. So even right now in this COVID situation, robots are being used to serve the patients. Actually, now it finds a major role in terms of getting into interaction with the patients as well. So current trends in robotics, if we could focus on, we have a different streams of robots where the robotics being placed in right from medical to military. So we have in different fields robots being deployed. The first major role now we could see in medical field. And just to add one information for you, in plus two, most of you are there in plus two right now. Few of you might think that engineering is not my cup of tea. I am much more towards the medical field or towards the science subject. But to be clear, the technology has to be adopted. Nowhere even you are much focused in terms of science. Indian Medical Association, few years before, they have come up with a syllabus integrating robotics as one of the subject in their final semester paper. The reason behind it, even this robot is being used in medical field, and the doctors are in in a situation that they have to get equipped themselves in terms of operating the patient using robot. So the technical can neither be avoided by you, wherein it is a very important major role where it's being even being used in medical field. So even the doctors in current situation are being requested or being inspired to get themselves equipped in terms of technology. So in medical robots, for surprise, I'll show a picture of it. That robot is being even used in Apollo Hospital, Chennai Grimms Road. So most of us, we think that robots is not there in India. It's being only in abroad and in different streams. Yes, we have a chat over here. Yeah. So the robots, if you see even in medical field, so there are a lot of misunderstanding that a robot is only there in different other countries, in developed countries, not in India. Actually, for your surprise, the robots are there in India. That's as I told you earlier, it's an example that Sri Perambudur, which is very close to Chennai, Hyundai company, they're completely the cars are being right from picking place, painting, welding, everything is being done by robots. And even you have a hotel in Chennai where robot in restaurant where robots come and serve food. And even in Apollo Hospital, we have robot surgery where the robots are being used to do the surgery. And even Apollo Hospital has given an open announcement in press meet that they're planning to start a separate department called robotic surgery. So let's get into this current trend. So we have medical field, you have telepresence, industrial plays a major role, domestic, commercial, education, and in military. So let's focus on the mainstreams where the current trends of robotics is being placed. So this is what is a robot which I'm talking about. Da Vinci surgical robot. The surgical system robot is quite interesting. The surgeon has to get practice technically to operate the robot. And the surprise thing in this is a robot can operate a patient anywhere in the world. Say, for example, a doctor in America can operate a patient in India using this console. So just by connecting these two consoles. So the doctor has to get equipped himself in terms of handling the robot, and obviously the other side the robot will do the surgery. So here he has the 3D glasses where he can see the patients operating, and here they say the blood loss is very less. There is a high precision in operation. So this actually gives a more clarity and precision across and during the operations as well. And let's see a small video of how this robot is operated.
The Da Vinci surgical system is a requisite investment for any hospital's minimally invasive surgery initiative. The Da Vinci system is the most advanced surgical platform available in today's market. The Da Vinci system consists of an ergonomically designed surgeon console and a patient-side cart with 4 interactive robotic arms, one to hold and position the high-resolution stereo endoscope, and the second, third, and fourth arms to control high-precision, fully articulated endo-wrist instruments. While seated comfortably at the Da Vinci console, the surgeon views a magnified, high-resolution 3D image of the operative site. Powered by state-of-the-art robotic and computer technology, the surgeon's hand movements are scaled, filtered, and seamlessly translated into precise movements of the endo-wrist instruments. The net result is an intuitive interface, enabling unparalleled precision, dexterity, and control.
So this is a small, introduction on this Da Vinci surgical bot. So even in medical field, this plays a major role. And next we'll talk about the telepresence robot. So this telepresence robot in current trends actually, as I told you earlier, right now, even in this COVID times, the doctors talk to the patient using this telepresence robot. So in many, in the fields in terms of the, and right now in this situation, these robots are being used. Next, we see the industrial robot. So in industrial, as I was talking to you earlier, this is actually an Fanuc company robot, which is being deployed in RD manufacturing unit. So Hyundai company we have this KUKA robot which is being deployed, and RD we have Fanuc. So this industrial robot plays a major role in industries. Robotics plays a major role in different streams. So this manufacturing unit actually uses this Fanuc robot right from pick and place, welding and painting. Let's see a small video on that to understand how this robot is being deployed in different fields of operating the cases as well.
Fanuc robots and factory automation solutions have been facilitating industrial production for over 60 years. Fanuc is present in 120 countries, including Hungary, assisting key sectors like the automotive industry, for example, at the Audi Hungaria Motor Limited factory in Győr, where they are developing and manufacturing cars for the Audi AG and the Volkswagen Group. Audi Hungaria is one of the companies with the largest turnover and export in Hungary, producing 2 million engines and 135,000 cars in 2014.
In our experience, Fanuc robots work reliably at our factory. We are constantly improving our production and install robots to reach our targets. In environments where we need to work with high pressure or temperature, the robots are up to the task and deliver quality standards, which would not be possible with human machining. Essentially, robots are used for applications too difficult for humans or where rapid machining is required. Our colleagues like working together with robots as they make human work easier by delivering these tasks. It's very important to program these robots correctly, because when problems arise, it's usually not the robot that causes them, but improper programming or the lack of maintenance. Regarding this, I'd like to highlight that Fanuc robots are easy to program, dependable, and we have a very good experience with them.
like as we saw in the video, so everywhere, in terms of manufacturing this unit of the cars, this Fanuc robot arm is being used. To actually give you a practical example, recently we received a project from Mahindra City, Mahindra Cars, where in Chengalpattu, where the robots are being used to actually open the door of the car. அங்க ஒரு டெஸ்டிங் லேப் இருக்கு. அந்த டெஸ்டிங் லேப்ல பார்க்கும்போது for opening and closing the different Mahindra cars, you have Xylo, you have XUV, you have Logan, different streams of Mahindra cars. The door structure is different. I mean, the handle structure is different. So if you see, this structure is completely, different. So in order to actually to pull out the doors to check the accessibility of how many times the door handle can withstand, so they use a pneumatic arm actually, or a thread cut pneumatic arm is being used, and that will actually make the door open and again pushing it to close. But here we got an opportunity to deploy a robotic arm where it can sense the structure of a door, structure of the handle, and it can open and close the door. So even in the testing place, the robot's arm is being used actually. Next comes the domestic robot. Yes, even in the domestic field, robots are being used. Even in India, we have a robot called first launched domestic robot in India, that is a Roomba. That Roomba robot is even available in Viveks, for a lesser price. That is actually an automatic vacuum cleaner. When you go to office in the morning, before you go out, you can just switch it on, and finally when you come in the evening, the whole floor of your house will be clean. So that is a domestic robot which is being deployed. And then we have autonomous car. Majorly the focus of this field in terms of robotics integrated with IoT, artificial intelligence, and machine learning come to the pictures of getting into the mainstreams of autonomous car. So autonomous car, you might think that is not possible in Chennai, but actually speaking, Mercedes-Benz has already completed its testing in terms of launching this driverless car. And for your information, practically we have 12th standard students. We have in India where already a semi-robotic car is available in market. Can anyone guess it? Actually, it is a semi-robot which was launched by Volkswagen. It was launched 7 years ago. The name of the car is Volkswagen Passat. So that car actually has a auto parking option. Even you can just see in in YouTube, check out how it is working. Yeah, we have a question and answer session questions. So probably once we complete the presentation, we'll address your questions as well. And this being deployed, and we can understand that this driverless cars, even the Mercedes-Benz has come into the picture of launching this, and which is not possible in this current Chennai roads. But actually speaking, as I told you earlier, Volkswagen Passat, you have an auto parking which is readily available in Chennai market. That car has been launched 7 years before. It has an auto parking. You just go into any crowded area and put that car into auto parking option. It will steer itself. It has sensors all around. It will sense, steer itself, and park it safely. With the current evolution after getting into this semi-auto parking cars, and then now almost the driverless cars have come into the picture. And for information, even the Uber has launched the driverless cars in Singapore and Dubai. In Singapore, this Uberless, this Uber driverless cars is actually working out well. 6 driverless cars has been deployed in Uber, and that is running successfully. And here is a small video of it.
Ain't no sun without you, baby. Ain't no sun without you. Won't you just be my ray of sunshine? I just want my ray of sunshine. Get away from this rain for a minute, baby. I just want my ray of sunshine. It knows that I deserve it. Oh, now won't you give it to me? One smile, I'm warm and sweet. Standing on this corner, I just wanna know your name. Baby, tell me what's your name. Won't you just be my ray of sunshine? I just want my ray of sunshine. Get away from this rain for a minute, baby. I just want my ray of sunshine. So know that I deserve it. Please just let me have it. 'Cause I make this life a habit, and girl, I wanna share it with you.
Good. I'm getting, uh, chats from the participants. We'll once we finish this presentation, we'll get into this question and answer session. Hope you're all, getting the basic understanding of what robotics is and different streams. For those who join now, it's a basically we started with explaining robotics na, then we explained about robots na, what makes a robot different from a normal machine. Then we saw about the loss of robot. Then we get into the understanding of the different trends, then classification. So now we're looking into this autonomous car. So majorly, when you take this autonomous car, you might think that the jobs of drivers are getting lost. But actually speaking, this technology actually pays a lot of opening the opportunities for different streams, because nowadays this driverless cars, if you take this as a small concept, there are a lot of engineers being involved in this. Mechanical, electrical, electronics, and nowadays even mechatronics and computer science, because this IoT is being deployed here, artificial intelligence. So everywhere that integration comes to the picture. So there is a lot of job opportunities in terms of other engineering as well. And yes, talking about the streams that we have in college, we have different streams in our AIMS college as well, right from computer science, EC, mechanical, triple and IT, actually, which is majorly focused on the core subject of getting into this robotics. Earlier, people would have a different idea of how a computer science engineer can get into robotics, how an information technology, an IT guy can get into robotics. Initially, there was an understanding only the mechanical engineer can get into robotics. But actually speaking, even in India, to get, there is no UG in robotics. Right now, only few colleges coming, but there is no UG in robotics. B in robotics is not there. University approved robotics courses in UG is not there. But PG, we have robotics. But majorly those PG, if you want to do MTech in robotics or ME in robotics, basically you have to have the stream of mechanical engineer. That's what is in the earliest stage. But right now, if you see, there are different engineering, getting into this robotic streams, right from computer science, where the programmers are very much required, very much needed. Then you have ACE, electronics, that is very much important. Mechanical, of course, the external structure, all the designing part, and then the EEE, the motors. I'm just giving you a basic outline because you're 12th standard students. Wherein if it is college, I can get into much detail. So I'll just give you an outline of it. And information technology, integrating all the IoT systems. So integrating all the sensors and motors together, that comes into the parts of IT as well. And as if you see, if you take computer science engineering, this is something I'm talking on the scope of robotics. We saw the current trends in robotics where the robots are being used right from medical to military. Even if you take a military, our defense minister told that by 2023, we will have robot soldiers in the borders, which means the robots is going to being placed, deployed in all the borders. So our soldiers can be placed in different other streams where their skills, the innovative skills, that can be used rather than being spending in sacrificing their life in the borders. So these robots they are planning to deploy in the borders as well. So when it comes into computer science engineering, these are the top core companies which has computer science, engineering, and robotics. For even Fanuc, there are certain companies which is being outsourced for programming. So there, these kinds of, Cisco, we have the Sun Microsystems. So these Tech Mahindra. So these are some of the companies, the core companies in terms of computer science that helps in terms of programming and deploying in robotics field. And next we have the top core companies for ECE. If you take electronics and communication engineering stream, with that stream, these are the core companies. I take a data of majorly accepted data is what I have been projecting right now. So we have different companies, Honeywell companies there. So there are a lot of core companies in terms of ECE, right from Havells, you have X-Ray, Bosch, ABB Robotics. Even in India, we have it in Nandanam. ABB has come into the picture. So Crislocar, we have the sterile technology. So these companies take basically an electronics and computer science engineering. These are the top core companies in EC department. Then we have EEE, right from ABB to Siemens. Here they also focus much into the EEE department. So you have the scope of getting into these kinds of companies as well. And then we have mechanical, of course, you have math and creativity is being integrated, and then we have different tools. So this actually, yeah, these are the top core companies for mechanical as well. So General Motors. So these companies also look into robotic engineering. So don't have in your mind that robotic engineering means we have to do separate robotics, in terms of UG. It's not so. As I showed you earlier, we have different streams of engineering. You can take any stream of these engineering and definitely you can train yourself in terms of robotic skills, probably in ME, or you can certified course, and then probably get placed in the core robotics companies as well. So the robotics engineers are not exclusively getting into this robotics. They are basically, say for example, if you take me, I'm an alumnus of Ali Muhammad Saleh College of Engineering, where I got a very basic, strong foundation of what is electronics, what is communication systems. With that base, then I concentrated into the embedded system. Then I concentrated into the ES in robotics certification courses. And then I started my career as a lab associate in one of the robotics lab in India. And there I explored a lot of technology in terms of robotics. Then I been placed as a junior scientist, and that's how my travel started. And now we have an iCube Robotics. The reason I started this company is because of passion to take this robotics to the school students also, because the base has to be started there, and in college you have to explore. So right now you are in 12th standard, so you have a very good time right now in this COVID times, an ample time to actually equip yourself to get your basics strong. And we have a very good institution, Ali Muhammad Saleh College of Engineering, offering these engineering streams, and there where I got a very strong foundation in my engineering that helped me and paved the way to get into the real streams of robotics after certification courses as well. And these are the main top core companies for information and technologies. Even these companies have an outsourced project from robotic companies to develop in terms of programming and develop, an IT systems base that is being integrated along with the robotics stream. Yes, so that is the presentation I have for you today. We'll have an interactive session. I'm very much excited. We have more participants right now, so you can start asking your questions in the question answer session, and probably I'll try to answer all your questions as well. Yes.
Ali Muhammad Muhammad Salah College of Engineering, Avadi, Chennai.
Easy transportation facility to reach our college. We provide our own college buses in and around Chennai. Fully air-conditioned computer lab equipped with more than 500 advanced systems. Different methods of education are provided through projector classes. Mechanical labs with different and advanced equipments for which safe hands-on training are provided. EE and ECE labs are well equipped with advanced technology devices for practicals. Fully furnished classrooms with interactive sessions of education are provided. In our college library, large variety of GK and academic related books are available. We encourage all types of sports and fitness related activities for physical development. We provide hygienic hostel with food facility for both boys and girls. Well sanitized and spacious prayer hall are also available.
Ali Muhammad Salah College of Engineering, Avadi, Chennai. TNE Counseling Code 1101. Course offered: Civil, EEE, CSE, ECE, BTech IT, Mechanical. For admission, contact 98408 66558, 97907 13448, 98402 26899. For more information, visit our website.
Yeah, and that's our college video, which would have explained you how we have a different facilities. And I, as an alumnus of Ali Muhammad Salah College of Engineering, I'm very proud that I got a very strong base in electronics and communication engineering during my college days, and because of the the facilities available in our college. And hope all the students and the participants who are listening to this, you have a wonderful opportunity here as well. And yes, we can get into this question and answer.
Chandrakant, I express my sincere appreciation for your inspiring and thought-provoking presentation. Your years of research, your depth of understanding the subject, your ability to present the subject as you do it in your college days is such an interesting way produced one of the most memorable day. We thank you for your valuable contribution. Now it is a question session. We already have received a few questions. In robotics, whether we are using compiler based or interpreter based for reprogramming?
Basically, in robotics, as I told you earlier, the concept of robot itself, which makes it a different from a normal machine, is reprogramming. Here we have a compiler based, for the reprogramming. So because as required for the different streams and as per the requirement, the programming can be changed, and it's a compiler based.
Okay, Va. The second question is from a research scholar in material science in Sardar Patel University. He has asked, can I correlate my research on nanoparticles with robotics? If yes, then how?
Okay, it's Mr. Giri from research scholar in material science. Okay, so good that we received this question from you, basically from material science. Okay, so this question is actually in terms of nanotechnology. Yes, of course you can correlate your research, but I don't know how you are interlinking this terms in terms of robotics. Yes, of course you can correlate because this nanotechnology is also being integrated in robotics, and probably you can just leave us a comment over here and I'll send you a complete detail. We have a different streams of, we have a PDF file that actually talking about the nanotechnology, where you can integrate the different universities available and how you can carry out the research. So probably you can leave us a comment and you can get in touch. I'll send you the PDF file. And yes, of course, you can correlate your research.
Thank you. The next question is, after BE Mechanical Engineering, how to get into robotics?
Yes. See, as I told you earlier, you see this robotics is a multidisciplinary engineering subject. This robotics is completely an integrated subject. You have mechanical as one of the part. So as I told you earlier in UG, after completing your mechanical engineering, and you can actually get into ME in robotics, MTech in robotics. There are different institutions which is available. You can browse on it, and you can even get into some certification courses being provided by private institutions. Say, for example, if you even in ABB, the openings are there for the mechanical engineer. It doesn't specify that they require robotics engineer. Even they take a mechanical engineer, but make sure that all the streams and the skills that is required to be a perfect mechanical engineering, that you have to concentrate and make sure you get equipped in those skills. With those skills, after entering into the company, they will provide you the training session based on the robots where you will be deployed into working.
Okay, Ma. The next question is, if robotics is used, the manpower will be reduced. How to overcome this?
A good question. This is a common question many people ask. If robotics is coming into the picture, robots is being used in different fields, the manpower will be reduced. I'll give a small explanation on this, a practical explanation. Uh, 10 years before, when I want to withdraw some, many of us, so few of you who are right now in 12th standard might not know the situation. Even, probably the elder people know about it. So 10 years before, if you want to withdraw some money from the bank, we have to go to the bank and actually apply half-day leave, half-day CL, then take the token number, it will be 250 or 300 number. And then getting into, withdrawing cash will take almost half a day. But right now, if you see, you have ATM machines being deployed in any time you can withdraw the cash. But it doesn't mean, actually talking, the front office jobs in banking has been ruled out. 10 years before, the cashier, there was almost 10 cashiers in a major bank. Right now, if you see, only one cashier is being deployed. There is a major change actually. The drift happened, but it's like a Newton's law. It's neither be created nor be destroyed. Actually speaking, the openings in the job is not destroyed. Actually, the job has changed. The jobs have changed. The front office job has been changed into the back end job. So right now, even if you take this Ambattur, you have India Land. In that, if you see, almost 2 floors, almost 153 companies are there, but actually 2 floors have been taken only the bank. So you might be wondering what the bank is doing inside, a corporate office setup should be there in the bank. It is actually the back end job. There are a lot of openings came into the picture. The Paytm, the back end job. So right now we do RTGS, we do NEF, we do IMPS, all that is being carried out at the back end. So right now, if you see, you might think that when the robotics comes into the picture, there will be a threat to the human being job, but it's not so. The skills are changed. Initially, if you see, the auto drivers will be driving the autos, but right now they use a smartphone. They see GPS. They get it, they get used to it. So actually speaking, it is the skill which you have to enhance so that you get adopted to the current situation. Actually speaking, these robots will going to have a major role in providing more job opportunities. Hope I answered the question.
Okay, Ma. The next question is there any specialized degree for robotics in BE like artificial intelligence course, and what will be the scope of the same?
Actually, as I told you earlier, BE specifically in robotics, university accepted is not right now available. There are certain colleges who provide BE in robotics, but as I told you, like again, it's an interdisciplinary engineering. You cannot constrain or learn robotics within that particular 4-year engineer. You have to develop your skills in particular streams of engineering, and then you can do some course interrelated with a certified course or ME in robotics. There you can actually learn this artificial intelligence, and that's how you get the more scope of getting placed into this robotics field. So you cannot constrain that in engineering alone, getting the complete aspect of robotics. Robotics is basically an integrated subject. Mechanical will be a part of it, electrical will be a part of it, electronics a part of it, computer science is a part of it. So you complete engineering, as we shown earlier, the mainstreams of any engineering, and later on you can get into certified course, or you can do ME in robotics or MTech in robotics, and there you have a major scope followed by it.
Thank you, Ma. The next question is, robots are reprogrammable machines, but artificial intelligence is safe or dangerous?
Okay, good question. Yes, robots are a reprogrammed machine, but artificial intelligence is safe or dangerous. See, actually speaking, the movies has created a wrong intention of understanding what the robot is basically, what does this artificial intelligence will do, and other stuff. Actually speaking, artificial intelligence, as you are 12th standard students, I'll tell a simple example. Keeping that in mind, I'm giving all the simple examples. Artificial intelligence, in simple word, initially, if you take, even in your school, you would have observed it. Initially, the teachers, once they get into the school, they sign in the register. After few days, few years before, it's now we have biometric. So you just have to show your thumb, it will scan and just automatically the attendance is registered. But now what this artificial intelligence will place a role right now is artificial intelligence come into this attendance taking registers where we'll have the sensors. So when the particular person is crossing through the entrance itself, understanding with the face recognition, the attendance is being registered. So here it's actually the artificial intelligence is being deployed to make the life easier. Actually, it is not a threat, or it doesn't as shown in the movie, it is not coming into the existence to destroy or something like that. Artificial intelligence equally, as I told you earlier, Isaac Asimov has proposed 3 laws. Any robots that is being manufactured by any company, that has to follow the 3 major criteria rules proposed by Isaac Asimov. If that rules proposed by Isaac Asimov is not being followed, that robot will not be certified. It will not come into the market. There is the barrier. See, even to give you a live example, even some movies you would have seen, giving the different instructions, they'll try to confuse the robot. So what it do? It injure the human beings. So they say it is not being manufactured or done under the Isaac Asimov's proposed law. So they reject it. So that's what is the real time. So when we talk about the real time, even though artificial intelligence come into the picture, giving the robots and artificial intelligence to think, it is always under the control of a human being. It is always under the control of the the technician. So that's what is the answer for this. Basically, artificial intelligence is being made to actually enhance the life skills, and it actually made our life easier. And I'll read out the other questions. And yes, next we have, if I want to create a mini robot, what is the cost I have to spend for this? See, if you want to make a small robot, it doesn't mean that a robot is not meant to be, it should be like a human being. So robot can be of any size. As I told you, as I showed you earlier, in bio-inspired robot, we saw a world's smallest robot. That robot has the cameras, that robot has the sensors that can go even through the keyhole. So you can make a mini robot of any size. It depends upon the what kind of robot you do. To start with, you can start with a basic of line follower. To just give you a glimpse of it, the cost, even in 50 rupees or 100 rupees, you can make a small line follower robot. You just take an IR sensor and integrated with the IC, with the motors, you can do it. The basic of a robot, so line follower. So there you can start off and then start exploring. You can make, to my understanding, you can make a mini robot with less than 300 rupees also. It depends on what kind of robot you use. Actually, in your science project, in your school, you would have done some small robots as well. So it depends on what kind of robot you do. And next, we have the question from Dr.
Next question is,
Jamil. Yes, ma'am.
Jamil, will robots dominate the world?
No, it's not. As I told you earlier, as I was explaining about the Sophia robot also, the Hudson Robotics came up with developing that Sophia robot. And there were a lot of questions arising around the world about the threat that it can create in future. Of course, as I told you earlier, it is not like what is shown in the movie. It is basically under the guidance of technician. It actually has to follow the laws proposed by Isaac Asimov. If it doesn't follow, it will not be certified by the Indian Robotic Association. And whatever it is being done in terms of enhancing the life skills only. Even that Sophia robot recently came to to Andhra Pradesh to have an interview session with the Andhra CM also, Jagan Mohan Reddy. And that's how it takes place. This question is quite hypothetical in understanding of it. It cannot dominate the world. End of the day, as the Isaac Asimov law proposed, the second law, it has to obey the orders given by the human beings, and where such order should not conflict with the higher order law. So it's definitely not.
The next question is, with the increase in DIY culture, is a DIY retailer shop a profitable business? And if it is, how much would be the initial investment and future prospects of this industry?
Okay. Being a 12th standard students, this question is actually quite inspiring. You started thinking about to get into the market as well. Yes, of course, there are a lot of DIY kit coming across in terms of robots, because as I told you, robot, it's not a structure of, that real humanoid robot. Can start with the basic scratch of this photophobic a tropic robot, line follower robot, edge detectors, all that. So these robots definitely has a DIY culture has come into the picture. And actually speaking, there is a survey that is being told that during this COVID times, the search for DIY robot kit has increased. That's what Google says. So there are a lot of students showing interest in DIY kit. Even the parents want to engage the kids with some knowledge sharing, developing kit. So definitely you have a very good market in that. Basically, as you asked, DIY retail shop, what would be the initial investment? Basically, we as a training institute, we doesn't focus much on this sales aspect, but to my understanding, you can start off with any initial. It depends upon the scalability of how you're getting into the market. So you can start with a very basic DIY. I know few of my friends who run a company where they do DIY kit and selling it on Amazon, the platform. So it doesn't require that you have to open a shop and invest a lot of things. Slowly you can start. Actually, you have to start researching, develop your own kit, develop your do-it-yourself own kit, and then you can start putting into the Amazon. It will be a very basic platform where you will understand how your product is being accepted. See, right now in this COVID times, it has taught a lot of people that online is very important. Right now a lot of things are happening online. So basically I used to see the eyes of the students, only then I can able to communicate. That kind of person I am. But right now I'm sitting in the computer and looking at the camera as if I'm thinking you are being there and start interacting. Even the courses also might in future come online. So you have to develop a DIY kit. With the DIY kit, you have to develop a curriculum. With that curriculum, you also develop a video content of explaining how that it has to be integrated and what are the different streams you have and what is the technical aspect in it. So how it can be integrated, how it will be useful for them, the students who are buying it. With that proportion, I guess you can start off in the market, and probably as time goes, you can look into scalability, and probably you can increase the market value as well.
The next is any specific programming tool, that is which programming language is suitable for robotics?
Okay. So yes, programming language suitable. See, actually this programming language will keep on enhancing, will keep on changing. So as you, that's what I'll take the basic example. Initially, you had a normal mobile, then you got into the button system, then you have this color mobile, then you have the smartphones. Even the smartphones right now, if you see, last year, the software is being changed right now. So every month it's getting upgraded. So you have an Android, then you have Sandwich, you got Lollipop, you got 4.0. So a lot of changes are happening. So here, if you ask this question to me, so this basically you have to increase your skill of learning the current stream of programming. So you cannot fix that, only I know the C language. C language is a basic language with which you start exploring the different language. Actually, when I was being, in college in 2004, we started with the assembly language with a microcontroller, 8051. So starting with the assembly language of understanding the registers, and then we started doing the counting, delay counters, that program, delay program. So all that happened during that time. But later on, there are a lot of changes happen. So right now, if you talk about the suitable language, you have Python. I guess Python is right now getting into a lot of streams, a lot of companies started putting into existence. So you have to understand the current stream which is required, and you have to update to that skill. The programming language may not be static, it keeps upgrading, so you have to upgrade accordingly.
The next question is, are algorithm
Yes,
one second. Are algorithm design and computer programming language skills really necessary if you have to be a roboticist? And is additive manufacturing a good industry to invest in?
Can you repeat the question? Is this displayed over here?
Are algorithm design and computer programming language skills really necessary if you have to be a roboticist? And is additive manufacturing a good industry to invest in?
Yes. See, right now you use the word roboticist. There is a difference in mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and roboticist. Roboticist is a word which is being used where that person has all the skills in robot. So as you told about roboticist, if you want to become a roboticist, yes, definitely you need to learn about the algorithms as well. As I told you earlier, without programming, robots will not work. So programming plays a major role right now in automation. Even in any streams that we saw right now in trends in robotics, everywhere if you see algorithm, this programming language knowledge is very, 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 very important if you really want to become a roboticist. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The one second. Militarized robots in a way are against the first law of robotic design as given by Isaac Asimov. Will this give rise to ethical issues? And if it does, are we doing something about it?
Very good question. So I was expecting this question. See, Indian Robotic Association has proposed that the robots has to obey or abide the three laws which was proposed by Isaac Asimov. Only then it will be certified to get into the market. But here the military robots is something different. They have an exclusivity in terms of deploying that robot. So that robot might be, as it is, you might think it is a conflict with Isaac Asimov law. But actually speaking, even if we take some war in terms of, it may be in First World War or Second World War, it depends on the intensity of how we are propagating and integrating, getting into the streams of the actual content. So here, if you see, this question is actually basically, as I told you earlier, this robotics that is being deployed in military is completely exclusive, and which this Indian Robot Association is in tie-up with the military robots. and they deploy the robots based on the requirement. Here it's an exclusive when it comes to the laws of Isaac Asimov. Okay, so next we have the question. Dear Chandrakant, what was your attendance percentage while studying AMS? What and who motivated to make your career in robotics? Thank you for this question, a personal question. Yes, when I was there in 2004, the moderator ma'am, Dr. Salma ma'am was our trainer, and I have a good attendance percentage, actually almost 98 to 99, I think. I didn't, I attend all the classes in my college, and there was an HOD called Jodi Babu sir and Salma ma'am and the principal Murali sir. They all encouraged in terms of doing some small projects. I had a very good professor, Dattadriyan sir, who actually guided me in different projects as well. So, and after completing my engineering with all these strong base from these wonderful people that God blessed me during my college time, and then I had Dr. Satish Kumar, who was an IIT professor. He done his PhD in robotics. He is my mentor in robotics, and with that base, then I started doing the certification courses when I joined robotics lab as a lab associate, and there I started exploring, and whatever I learned in my college from AMS College of Engineering, and started exploring and started developing robots, and there my curiosity increased, and he motivated me a lot to make my career in robotics. Next we have minimal uh, requirement of simple robot. I think I already addressed this. uh, you can start off doing with a photophobic, phototropic, line follow. You can start exploring. Basically, as 12th standard students, you can start exploring right from the breadboard connections. So breadboard connections, electronics. Then you start with LDR, basic LDR, how to control, the LED with LDR. The basic connections you can start. Then you can start into Arduino programming. Then the Arduino, then you can start. That's the way you can start, learning and exploring more and more. So basically, start with electronics, breadboard connections, then get into the programming board, then start interfacing the sensors, and then get into the minimal structure of making a robot. Then you can start exploring, and there when you start these skills, definitely the exposure gets improved, and you start developing more robots as well. And that is a great platform that AMS College is providing you, and probably you can utilize that. We have a question from Mohammed. Are online courses good when compared to conventional college course? And if they are, what are your suggestions? Yes, as I told you, basically, I get motivated when I see people's eyes and talking. So I have a lot of sessions in almost 10 years of my experience, been to different schools and college and industrial also. I basically see the people and then take the classes. They say the class is very lively. So whatever the platform, whatever the technical platform, when it comes into the picture, we cannot compare the real time of explaining things, real time of conversations, the things that we learn in live than the any online platform. So it is suggested, it is not suggested, it is actually true that only when you go to college, conventional college courses only will get you more knowledge than the courses that is available in online, which is true. Practically, you can explore, as we saw the videos in AMS College. We have a lot of facilities, lab facilities, where the students come. When I was a student in AMS College, we used to go to the electronic devices lab, EC labs. There in the lab, we start exploring. We just start getting components from the lab assistants, and then we start doing some projects based on it. So that happens only when you go conventionally. So online courses cannot fetch that much of percentages what you get it in live conventional college. So it is better to get trained in college, and of course online courses will be an additional to enhance your skills.
The next question is from Syed Kamiluddin Ahmed. What type of robots are used in education sector?
Very good questions. There are different robots being used in education sector, but we, as an iCube Robotics, when we focus on schooling, I was basically inspired by US based system in teaching robotics, and that's where I started deploying the US based kit to school students, where that has all the sensors and motors and make it the students easily understand the concept behind the robotics. It makes the base strong. So we go with that kind of kit. So even if you take US and German, there are a lot of robotic kits available. So probably I think you have to explore. In education sector, of course, those robots are being used in school. And right now, if you see, even KUKA robots started deploying robots in higher grade schools in 10th, 11th, 12th robotics lab, and even in college. And started teaching students with the degrees of freedom. So how to operate, so what is the programming behind it, how to change the end effector, so how to reprogram robot with the end effector, so how it can be effective. All the training happens in robotics lab with integrated labs at schools and college as well. So that's how even education sector KUKA robots came into the picture. But majorly to start in educational sector, the robots, you have to start with understanding of minimal boards that is available in in the market. You can start exploring with Arduino board, then get into the PCBs and expand yourself with interfacing the sensors and all that. Is, as I addressed earlier, there are a lot of DIY kit as well. To get into understanding of robotic concept. And I actually personally, as an education sector, we follow this traditional US based kit that helps us to understand more in terms of robotics. Yes. The session is very informative. Is there any feedback?
I hope all questions we have answered. Once again.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll check with the webinar session once again. If any questions are there, I'll put forth. No, I hope you have answered for all the questions asked.
Yes, ma'am.
Chandrakant, is there anything else you would like to mention here?
I guess all the questions are being answered, and I think they're asking for some feedback link. The session was informative. Is there any feedback form link so that we can send? And few of them has asked for sharing the PPT. Yes, you can message us. Probably I can share the information.
It looks like you have, there is actually one more question is there, no?
Yes.
So you have answered all the questions, Chandrakanta.
Okay.
Okay, it looked like you have covered everything.
Okay.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you, Chandrakant. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar, Trends and Scope in Robotics. On behalf of Ali Muhammad Salih College of Engineering, we thank everyone for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure for me to be here as well, and hope it's basically, since the 12th standard, we gave a brief introduction about it, and we are expecting you to explore more and start using this time to unlock your skills as well. Thank you everyone.